Hey everybody, Spoonfed here, and we're going to start today with our HTML programming. Um, I'm putting this on the site as well. I'm only going to do videos. Um, I have no. I'm going to do a video, and I'm going to write out a post with a link to this video. The post will be a bit different, of course, but I'll be doing it written as well. So if you like to write because video is going too fast, or you want to read and like take notes of that type thing, then that will be possible as well. First things first, um, you can code the HTML entirely in Notepad, which is what you get with Windows. If you click Start and go to All Programs in Accessories and then Notepad, that's one thing you can use to code. I'm just going to use Notepad++, which has some features in there that will help with the coding. Like if you're coding HTML, there are some tags which I'll explain later what those are, that will like highlight when you use them. You can see if you have like forgot to close a quote somewhere or forgot to close a tag somewhere. You can really follow lines and everything. So to install this, go to Notepad and then --plus.org and go to download. And it seems my internet's a bit slow, but that's okay. I will be continuing the Let's Play videos, both my pilgrimage to Diablo 3 and the I. Taking loot. Yeah, that's the problem that I have. I don't know what it is. Here we are. So just do the installer if you're on Windows. If you are, which you perfectly could be, on Linux, I think they have a version for Linux as well, but I'm not sure which one it is. So I will look into that a little bit later on. Maybe you can just get it from the repositories. I don't know. We're gonna head and no, we're not gonna close this one. We're just gonna do it. I think you can type in this. Yeah, I'm gonna just set it in homepage. I'm gonna minimize it. That was a sneak preview. That is a sneak preview of what we're gonna do. Yes, I want to install it. Next, I agree. Yeah, it's fine with me. Now here you can choose to have a different language, and here you can have it if you're using Internet Explorer. You can use the Notepad++ to make it your default HTML viewer when you're looking at the page source or the source code of the page. I'm not going to use Internet Explorer on Windows 7. I think I have that installed on Vista, so if I would be on Vista, then that would be the one. And the rest is fine. Let's go. Now, this is useful if you have it on a USB stick. I don't have that, so I don't want it. I want a desktop shortcut. Now you have two icons, and the new one looks like more professional, and the old one is that comedian thingy. So I'm gonna use the new one. I could use the old one to show you what the old one was, but hey, this is the new one, which I think looks pretty sweet. Also, I'm gonna make a video like detailing all these products a bit, and I'm gonna talk a bit more about Mozilla Firefox as well, about the browsers. I'm gonna do all of that, and the funny thing is we're gonna run it as well. So finish the run. I'm just gonna clear this list, make this huge, and I'm gonna close this. You can read the changelog, but it's not important for now. Alright, so the thing is, once you start this, doing everything step by step and from the bottom up, you realize how much you use a day, that you just, like now, you take for granted that you open up Adobe for your PDFs, or another program for PDFs, but one program you use for your images, and another you use 3 programs to chat, and you use your browser to do all kinds of good stuff, and the list goes on and on. And if you now, I have to stop and think about each and one single program that I do, and I have to explain each and every single program. That's yeah, it's getting pretty big, which is also a good thing for me, because I like making these videos. I'm gonna quickly go over this. The reason I first wanted to do like extensive talk about this, but I thought, it's not that important anymore. Yeah, it should be important, but it's not really. Basically, this is your first lesson in HTML. Every page should have a doc type, and a doc type means something the browser, or the parser of the browser that goes through the HTML pages and serves them to you, can validate what kind of language you used. And you could say, well, it's all HTML. Well, indeed it is all HTML, but the problem is you can have XML and HTML at the same time, and XML is another language I'm going to be talking about and explaining another while. We're not there yet. But in the good old days, there only was HTML, and all browsers knew the new HTML, so there was no need for a doc type. But nowadays, you have so many items and appliances that use that can like go on the internet and see a page, that there has to be some sort of universal standard, as it were. And the W3C oversees that all. And there are 2. Well, one is not yet a standard, but will be a standard hopefully soon, and the other one is the latest standard, and that's the one for HTML 4.01. No, it's called XHTML 1.0, and that's basically HTML 4.01 or 4.1, I'm not really sure, and combine that with the XML, so you get extensive HTML, which is basically everything that is right here. Now, this one determines the rules that you can use. You can have a look at this document if you so wish, and this type here basically is the name for that kind of thing. So this is the official. Let me just put it like, you can put it like so. It's not a problem. This is the official first line of code that you need to implement in each and every page. And this second line is one that is the HTML tag, which officially opens the HTML page. There's only one HTML tag, and a tag is basically this. So you have an angled bracket or a lesser than sign, then you have HTML, and then pretend this is not here, which we can do really easily. I'm just gonna remove it. Now this is the HTML tag. I don't know if that's the official name, but that's how I call it, and I think it's the official name, a tag. This is the HTML tag, and you have only one per document, so you have only one per page. Now I'm gonna put this back in. This one basically is for the XML, which I'm gonna be covering too. You can use that in your HTML to incorporate some stuff. I'm not gonna go into deeply in there right now because otherwise I digress too much. And then in the head tag, which you have per HTML tag, you have one head and one body, which makes sense if you think about it. And in the head tag, you're gonna put all kinds of stuff it needs to load, as well as the title. The title is the only thing a person can see what you have in the head tag, and the rest is like under the hood. It's where you load your JavaScripts if you want to use them, which is also something I'll be covering. Where you're going to load your CSS, which I'm also going to be covering, and your CSS is your cascading style sheet, which basically is the presentation of your website. It determines the background image and the font size and type and all kinds of goodies like that. Then you're gonna, if you want to close a tag, it's the same way as opening, but you're just gonna add one slash, and that's a forward slash, another backslash, and then you close the head tag. And this is the stuff W3C wants to see now, wants to see everybody use it right now, which you should, because if you're gonna start this SEO, which is kind of what we're going for, you want it to be able, you want your page to look almost the same on every browser, and this one not guarantees it, but make sure you're going making a good start on doing that. Now this here talks about what your content type is of the site and what your character set is. Is it very important to know what this is? Not really. Just put it in, and if we come across anything else that looks like this, I'll explain it then. Now the other stuff is, this looks a lot simpler, you might say, than that whole long line up above, and that's because this is gonna be the new standard version for HTML5, which I hope comes very soon. If you want to start already with HTML5, which I guess you could, I think I'm not going to right now, but I'm not really sure. I could always change it. Like if I am in the third video and I make up my mind, I'll just have a video about changing your HTML4 code to HTML5. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just, because I don't have a lot to code in HTML for the HTML tutorial basically. And then once we did that, then we'll transform it. So you just do this doc type HTML, which is it. Then in the HTML tag you can specify the language, and which in this case was English or Australian. And then in the head tag you're gonna just specify the character set, and that's it. That's the only thing you need to do. Now I'm gonna go ahead with this. I'm gonna copy this whole thing. I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna paste it in here. So we're in Notepad++ right now, and we're gonna specify the language first, which is go to language H and then HTML, and immediately you can see some changes. We have this marked for the doc type. The tags are all in blue, as you can see, and if I click on the tag I can instantly see where it's closed. We have the keywords in red, and we have the strings in purple. And if you want, you can change all this. I'm not gonna do right now, but I'll show you in a time that you can do this. And here you can see it's closed as well by this one, which I forgot to mention. Like a meta tag doesn't need a closing tag like the head does. And that's because meta is usually just one line, just as like putting in an image will be one line for us, or links that go outside of the page in the head, or the title, which we'll be doing soon as well. Anything that has like only one line of stuff, you just close it like that. Now I can imagine you don't want to type in all of this each and every time, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna save this. I'm gonna save it as, and I'm in Windows 7 right now, but basically you go to your username, and we're gonna go with I'm gonna make a new folder, which you do by right clicking anywhere white, saying new, then folder, and I'm gonna make the folder Well, HTML, it's easy. And then we're gonna, it automatically picks for us the HTML, and that's fine with me. And I'm gonna name this standard, like banner. No, not banner. I'm just gonna do it like standard, just standard. Which means you can open standard each and every time, and then click save as. Like when you start a new document, you're gonna save the document as whatever you want to have the document called, and you don't have to type in this all the time. So I'm gonna do save. So now we have our standard, and immediately I'm gonna do save as, because we're gonna make something, and I'm gonna save it as the index with lower letters, only lower letters. Something you need to use, which in this XHTML strict formatting of code, you only have to use lower letters for your names, for your tags, for your keywords, for your strings, for everything. Only use lower letters, lowercase letters, I mean. And another thing is index.html or index.php or index.anything is the first thing a browser will look for every time, because the server is set up that way usually. It's like pretty standard. It's the thing that browsers and servers will look for or serve up if there's nothing. So let's say spoonfed.org with nothing added is the same as spoonfed.org slash I think it's index.php, which is the same site, it's the same homepage. So we're gonna do index.html, and as you can see here we have index.html. Now this isn't anything yet, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a title. I'm gonna add a title, which I will explain as well what it does and where you can find it. And the title for me will be Spoonfed's portal. Now you're gonna close the title like so, and if you click here you can see it's closed. And I want to show you something else. Let's say we have later on you have loads of different things embedded between them. You can do this. You can follow this line, and more easily you can follow this line exactly to keep these two aligned as well. So I'm going to be learning you how to write code as well as present code. And I need to do one more thing, and that is to end HTML. So I'm going to close this HTML as well. I'm going to save it, and the only thing we're going to do now is you want to maybe see what everything is about. So what we're going to do is we're going to open a file in Firefox, which you do by if you're in Firefox, do Control plus O, which will open a file. If you're in another browser, go and find in Firefox, it's new tab and open file in the latest Firefox. I will do a series on browsers and just explain where you can find everything. That's far easier. So I'm just gonna, no, that's source code, it's not what I want. Open file, and we had it in our username, HTML, index, open. Now there's nothing here, but the thing is, the title tag will be that one, that part right here. If you're on an old browser, it will be in the which is called the title bar, which is like the thing here between, or between this side of the screen and the minimize, maximize, and close buttons. There was the title. I don't have a browser right now on this that has that, but when I'm on Windows XP, I will show it to you. So let's add one more thing to this, and we're gonna add content in the body tag. So the head tag is only for the title and other stuff, and in the body will be the main content. Now, content will begin with a header, and you need to remember that the headers need to be in the order H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. And because sometimes some people give H2 a certain look in CSS, but they forget that you can also do that easily by well, do it easily another way. I'll get into that when we do CSS. So you have loads of H2s all around the place. So you have an H2 that maybe is above an H1, and you have multiple H2s. That's very bad coding, and if you're a CEO, that's something you cannot have. You need to have the H1 on top, or at least above the H2, H2 above H3, and so on, and you only need to have an exact one of each. So you can only have one H1 and one H2 and so on. Don't forget that. Now, what does a header do? We'll be seeing the effects of headers, or the looks of headers, when we continue our HTML. For now, just picture H1 the biggest and H6 the smallest. That's all you need to know. What kind of header are we going to do? Well, we're just gonna do the same, because that's what the site is about. And we're gonna also add some content to it. Now I want no, I don't want that yet. To add content, you do a paragraph tag, which is a P tag. Well, as you can see, H1 needs a closing H1 tag, because even though this is only one line, but it incorporates text. So you can have, they could have said like H1 and then have a string, like in Meta they could have had a string in there and then closed like that. But this way it's easier to follow, because you could have the H1 header here and then have some other text right beside it. We're just gonna type some text here. And we're gonna close that one. There's only one more thing we need to do. As you can see here, there's no closing as it is here and as it is here. So we need to add a closing body tag. Now it's finished. We're gonna save this by doing Ctrl S, or going to File and then saying Save. And we're gonna see how this looks in a browser. And if you're in the browser and you've opened the file already, just hit F5 or click this reload button. I'm gonna hit, or do Control plus R. Those three ways are reloading the page. Now Control plus R is oftentimes the best way, because sometimes you store some information in what's called a cache, and sometimes you don't want the page to load the things that are in the cache, but the changes you just made. So I'm just going to do Control plus R and see how it looks. And this is how your site looks right now. So that's it for this basic tutorial. Just a quick recap. You know how to start. Every document needs a doc type. Then it starts with an HTML tag, which in case of the XML strict has the XML and S in it. Then you do a head tag. In it you have your title, which shows up here. Then we have some miscellaneous stuff which I'll cover later. You close the head tag, you open the body for the content, and you have a header in there, which not necessarily be the first thing, of course, but it's easier because that's what this page is about. And then you have a P for paragraphs. That's it for now. Have some fun with it, and I will see you next time, and we'll do a little bit more, get to know some more tags, and we'll be looking at, I'm not sure what we'll be looking at. I'll have to look at it next time. Have fun, and I'll see you next time.